Order, it's 10 o'clock. We do have a quorum, so we can go ahead and do business today. If you don't mind, let's stand and first of all, have an opening prayer. Is that, you have Sugars?
Yes.
Shooters.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay, be able to open in prayer. Heavenly Father, we pray for guidance. Pray that we include you in everything that we do and every decision we make. That we put you first in our lives. That you direct our service in our community, whether it's in a court like this, whether it's a sheriff's department, first responders, churches, and schools. We pray that we lift up and we represent each other. Pray for our first responders. I want to pray, Lord, for this court. It's tasked with many different duties, service to the community. Pray that you always lift them up, encourage them, give them strength and peace in everything that they do. And Father, in all things, I just pray that you're always first in our thoughts and our minds, in the direction that we take, and the path that we have in our lives and the lives that we affect as we help and serve others. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. You're certainly welcome to stay here with us for the rest of the court here and just watch and see what goes on in your county government, or you're free to leave as soon as we finish our pledges here. But we're glad to have you today, and thank you very much for that opening.
Thanks, sir.
Commissioner Arndt, if you would please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag. Honor
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Once again, welcome everybody. Glad you're here today. Do we have any public comments that we need to?
No, sir.
Okay, no one has signed up.
Nope.
Okay. We'll go right into the consent agenda then. The consent agenda includes non-controversial and routine items that the court may act on with one single vote. The judge or a commissioner may pull any item from the consent agenda in order that the court discuss and act upon it individually as part of the regular agenda. You guys look through the consent. We do have item H that we need to move down to the regular agenda.
We don't need to pull in, do we? I mean, we accept them all that way.
Yeah.
Say again now.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda less H, so we can, I guess we need to talk about it separately.
Yes, we do.
That's my motion.
Okay, and you all don't need to talk about N?
I don't think so. We're just
Okay.
gonna approve them all this way.
All right. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item H, which we will discuss after we vote on the consent agenda. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Arndt. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. That consent agenda passes 4 to 0 actually. We do have one commissioner absent today, Commissioner Hollowell. He's on leave.
He's out with his family.
That's
That's
right.
a very good reason. I know when
Very
I'm
good
going,
reason.
when I'm going, I like people to know where I'm going.
That's right. All right then.
Talk about H.
Yeah, we want to talk about H. And I'm not sure why we're going to talk about H. I was told we needed to talk about H.
Oh,
Well, Shelley just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of that one. That is a new contract for the sheriff's office, the watch guard.
Okay, and it just so happens we have the sheriff here today.
I was waiting until TAC went, but I'll speak on it real quick. All right, gentlemen, this was a system that's kind of started before I came along, and we're finishing it up, but we thought we had credit through this fiscal year. I wish Shelley was here because I could ask her. I think Shelley requested the credit back, but regardless, they have billed us for a period of May 23 through May 24, for a total of $21,780. So, of course, that's all of our body cams, our in-car videos, everything is uploaded to the cloud. So we really don't have a choice but to pay it and continue on.
It just falls funny with the dates. It doesn't fall at budget time. It falls in the budget year.
Right, so I have budgeted, put it in for the next fiscal year that we currently are working on, or just submitted, so. But anyway, this time it's kind of popped up and we need to pay it.
Sharon, did she share her concerns with you?
No, and she should be here in a minute, so.
Of course, I would share with you that after April's billing, we have brought in $560,000, over $500,000 from our inmate housing.
Wow.
So that is all, Shelley can tell you, that is revenue which can be spent now. So there's not an issue with coming up with that money. It's just a matter of approving it in the budget amendment. And
Okay.
she just wanted it pulled. She wanted it pulled out of consent. So
Okay, so it wasn't it? Okay, we could talk about
you
it.
can talk. That's.
Do you think what you know about item H is sufficient, or do we need to wait until Shelley gets here?
There's nothing else to know about, Judge.
Okay, so it's just
that's it.
funded or not funded then, basically. Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
If you don't fund it, we're probably in violation of law.
okay.
Because we won't have body cam or in-car video, which we're required to have, so.
I make a motion, we approve letter H.
I think that's a good motion to make. Motion, Commissioner Snuggs.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Arndt. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. That motion passes. Actually, it's item H on the consent agenda that's been moved up. That motion passes 4-0. One absent. Okay, item number 7. We're going to have a presentation by TAC regarding the health and employee benefits pool. Always good to see TAC.
Thank you for having us. Good morning.
Morning.
So this is my first time visiting the Cooke County Commissioners Court. So I appreciate you all taking time for us.
Thank you very much.
I'll tell you, I bump into Commissioner Hollowell quite a bit at conferences, so I'll have to let him know I was here.
Okay.
That I just missed him. We're not going to take a tremendous amount of your time today.
You take as much time as you need.
I appreciate that. So we mainly want to just come out and let you know the status of your health plan, how it's performing, just to kind of go backwards a little bit. So my name is Jonathan Collender. I'm the employee benefits consultant for the Northeast Territory. I have Amy Bridges with me. She's our wellness consultant for the Northeast. And then special treat, my boss, Sharon Cox, is also here today. So she doesn't normally get out on the road and loves courthouses and town squares and all that. So she was pretty excited to get to hang out here for a little bit.
I live far away.
I drove 6 hours to get here.
Well, thank you.
I live south of Boston.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
A little bit of a drive, yeah. So we have over 47,000 members in the TAC Health and Employee Benefits Pool, and that allows us to do things at a bigger scale than Cooke County were to, on their own, go shop for insurance. So your plan has run pretty high for the last few years. As a result, we've been able to keep renewals to a more reasonable level. We're seeing renewals out there in the marketplace as high as 15 or 20% annually, especially this year. It's been a particularly tough year out in the marketplace. So the value of us being able to pool all of our groups together is particularly beneficial for groups of your size. The idea behind what we're doing today is our mid-year review, just going through where your costs are, how the plan runs, and then maybe some things that might be contributing to that. And Amy's going to be great and share a lot of that information with you as well. I apologize. We're going to go ahead and just skip right on to page 4. I do want to say I've got my contact information, Amy's contact information in those folders, so we're happy to have separate conversations or offline conversations with any questions you might have. So just starting with talking about your plan, if you look down kind of towards the bottom of the page, you can see loss ratio. So there's a 12-month loss ratio and a 36-month loss ratio. And this is a number that kind of, it kind of encapsulates what we talk about when we talk about how much a plan costs. So if loss ratio was at 100%, then that would mean every dollar paid in premiums, we're paying out in claims. So our target for that is around 94%. We like to have 6% for administrative costs, things like that, so that we can be able to work with our vendors and also just get all of the materials and things like that we need. So that 6% we build in for that administrative cost. Over the last 12 months, Cooke County has run at just over 125%. So for every dollar contributed, we're paying $1.25. For the last 3 years, that's 36 months, it's a little bit lower than that, so 118%. On average, over the last 3 years, you've seen a 6.2% increase. So last year it was at 8.5, the year before that it was 8.0, and then for plan year 21, it was a negative 2% because COVID was a pretty good year when it came to health expenses. A lot of folks didn't go to the doctors, and surgeries and things like that were put off. So that's where we come out with that average for 6.2. We're currently in the process of setting what the renewal rates will be. I anticipate it may come in a little bit higher than 8.5%. I don't know for sure yet. Our financial team's still working on that. What I will say is there may be some things that we can do to help bring that cost down. So there's alternate plans we can look at. And I work with Elizabeth. I worked with her for the last year and a half, and she's tremendous. And I don't know that I see better advocates for their employees the way that she advocates on your behalf. So I'll work closely with her, and I'm happy to work with any of you if you have any questions on that. But we'll propose some alternate plans and some suggestions if you are looking to bring costs down. I know regular rising increases is not ideal. It's not something that you have built in the line items of your budget. So that's it for the kind of the numbers part of it. We're going to move on to page 5, and I'm going to let Amy take over and share her information.
Good morning. The next 3 slides are really just kind of a snapshot of your planned spend. So you've got last year compared to this year. The first slide just kind of talks about diagnostic criteria. Some trends from last year to this year continue to be musculoskeletal, nervous disease, and digestive disorders. So it just kind of gives you a breakdown of where those dollars are coming from. I won't get too far into the weeds here, but if you flip to the next slide, these are your top 3 chronic conditions, which is where a lot of our Healthy County programs will really work to target. So you can see they're the same last year to this year: hypertension, heart disease, and asthma. In terms of your medication spend, the pharmacy spend, same thing, a lot of trends here. Incretin mimetics are diabetes drugs, injectable diabetes drugs. There's oral diabetes medications, insulin, so diabetes is coming up here, and just in terms of pharmacy spend. There are some other categories there as well. If you kind of move on to the preventative practices, you've got your physical and dental screenings. Percentages are pretty low, so that might be something we can work with your wellness team on to kind of help promote those screenings. Perhaps, get some of these members in to see the doctor before some of these chronic conditions become a little bit more, complicated. Still on track to meet where we were last year, but definitely some room for improvement across the board. That last slide, slide 9, looks at the Healthy County program participation. Arosty is going to help with pain management. So when we looked at that musculoskeletal, those numbers, that's a Healthy County program that we can really promote. We can get Arosty out here to Cooke County and get them to kind of promote their services, but we had 2 participate last year there, so definitely some room to improve. In terms of chronic condition management, we know that weight management really is a factor when it comes to managing chronic conditions. So we have Wonder Health and Omada, which help from weight management, so definitely some opportunities. to get members involved there. Of course, Livongo is our glucometer, it's the diabetes and the hypertension tool that we use, the program that we use, and there's 34 last year utilizing that. So we can definitely start promoting these programs across Cooke County on a wider scale, maybe do some education on what they can bring just to people's wellness in general. The EAP wasn't utilized last year, and then of course the Healthy County Rewards program we could really do a little bit more with. So looking forward to working with your wellness team and maybe doing a little bit more to promote some of these services for the next year. Slide 10 is our cost containment strategy, and again, that's just promoting those Healthy County programs we have available to really help people to manage their conditions better and get ahead of some of these things before they get costly. And I'll pass it back over to Jonathan.
We'll wrap up real quick here with just an idea of what the timeline is for the renewals. So our renewals are set to go out towards the end of this month, towards the end of May. We're going to be hosting webinars beginning next week to just share updates in the pool and different programs and things like that. We have a new vendor that we're bringing on board to help us with FSA, HSA, those types of plans. I know that you all operate the HRA, so maybe there's a way that we can assist with that as well. We've got some new ancillary products we're bringing on. We've partnered with Dearborn National to help with our life insurance and our disability insurance offerings. And then we've enhanced the dental and the vision offerings that we have, so the networks are a little bit stronger, a little bigger. We have a new wellness vendor. It says TBA there, but our board actually voted on this past Friday. We're going to bring in WebMD to replace Sonic Boom. We're very excited about that. They're a nationally known brand. We've come with a great platform. One of the things we heard is that with the apps and websites being different, that causes a lot of confusion. This is one where everything's going to be the same. What you see on the app is going to be what you see on the website. So really great for that. And then we're also making some bigger changes internally. We're updating our eligibility system, and that's going to make things move a lot slower for the different HR departments that we work with. So we'll have our renewal out here in late May. We request it back towards the end of June. We'll have the official date soon on that. We appreciate your time and letting us come out and talk. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I was gonna ask how many counties participate in the pool?
Sure. So it's interesting because we have over 200 groups, and not all of them are counties, but they're all county entities or districts. So we have some tax appraiser districts. We have,
That's how they're in the TAC.
right, ESD, things like that.
That's what I was
Right.
gonna ask, because
Yeah.
what other entities were in the TAC?
Right, and that's it. It's all county or county-related entities, but we have over 200 groups, and it comes out to more than
231 groups right here.
yes. I can never get the number exact, so I've always been safe. Just over 200 is what I go.
And I was just curious what the other groups were if they weren't counties.
Right, and yeah, that's what it is. Yes, sir.
They didn't have anything to do with prosecuting China. I'm just curious.
Oh, it's happy to answer any questions.
Are y'all gonna stick around for the rest of the meeting? Or?
So we're not planning on, but we're happy to if y'all have any questions or would like us to hang back.
I was just, that's all right. I didn't have any, I think any questions that we have, we can get to you through Elizabeth, can't we?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Happy to help that way.
Okay.
Jonathan lives much closer to this county than I do. He has pop up here in Wilmington for you.
My last year in the Air Force, I commuted from south of Austin every weekend.
Oh, goodness.
I live out in the hill country outside of San Antonio, so
Oh, yeah?
I left the hills and the water and the deer to come visit you guys here.
We've got water and deers up here.
We lived in Kyle, but,
Oh,
yeah.
my sister lives right there.
It wasn't a bad commute,
Yes,
35 years ago.
Our traffic's changed a little bit since then.
It sure has, yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much. For
Thank you all. I appreciate your time.
And, we're glad to have you here, and like I said, feel free to stick around if you want to, or beat the system and head on back, whatever you plan to
Other meetings, but I appreciate the offer.
Gotcha.
Rain check on that.
do. Okay.
But thanks, y'all. I
Thank
appreciate
y'all.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 8 is deliberate and consider approving a metal top to be constructed over the 2 picnic tables and break area on the north side of the sheriff's office will be a freestanding structure not attached to any other building or structure. Some inmate labor will be used as well. Once again, the sheriff.
I don't know if you have any packets, y'all have one. So, that old weather picnic table's kind of like a barometer of the seasons. So that's a summertime picture, you see just a sliver of, that's why I pulled all over against the building. So, this is not a budgetary issue. Ricky Kerr has the money already. And, so it's just a matter of approving the structure. We'll use inmates to dig the holes, as well as afterwards, the metal top's gonna kind of blend with the walls of the outside color, kind of a creamish color, and then the upright poles, the inmates will paint to match the crimson red or reddish color of the trim of the building. So, pretty reasonable.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve, Commissioner Snuggs.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Arndt. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? There are none. That motion passes 5-0.
Stay up there, Ray.
Yeah, hang on, Sheriff. I had a question for you too. Has anybody ever mentioned to you or spoken to you about making a larger area there? One where, well, for instance, one night recently I was out there at the emergency center when the hailstorm was coming and everything else, and it's kind of hard to take your vehicle up to watch the radar and all of that kind of stuff, knowing that it's probably going to get smashed when you get up there. Has there ever been any discussion of that made?
Not that I'm aware of now. I was talking to Ricky Kerr when he came out to look
Sure.
about the area where the picnic tables are, and he said that there had been some talk in the past about a covered walkway that when you come out of that north door, it would go out and then cover the sidewalks. There wasn't any mention about going out and having covered parking back there. I don't care. You guys will come out and look. Kind of a little, I shouldn't call it an issue, but something I think about is that if we just go out there and put up 2 or 3 or 4 covers for spots, what about all our employee vehicles that
Yeah.
they're gonna try to get up under there and,
Not to mention your fleet.
sure. From time to time, somebody asks, hey, can we put our cars in the Sally Port?
Sally
in the
Port.
jail, No, I mean, we can't fit everybody in there, and if you're gonna,
Yeah.
are you gonna decide to let in and who gets to stay out? But that would be my concern about that. I realize those guys are coming up there, they're volunteering. But that's y'all's call, whether you wanna put up a little bit of cover out there, or whether you wanna go down that full length.
I think if you don't cover everybody, you can't cover you.
I
If
agree.
you go out there, it's be parked, somebody's gonna be parked in it.
I agree.
This same gentleman, Mr. David Jones, that's gonna do the top, if any of you have been on the north side of the Gainesville Police Department, you should drive around there and look at that top. He came in, after the fact, after that was already built, and he built covered parking all down the back side. Looks really good. So if you have some thoughts about doing that out there, I encourage you to go by the police department and look and see what they did back behind their building. It's really nice.
As far as that goes, there's not any cover around the courthouse here either, so
Right.
we're all susceptible to the problems. Okay. Anybody have anything else on item number 8 before we move on. Item number 9, deliberate and consider possible action regarding approval of interlocal agreement between Cooke County and the city of Lindsay for 700 megahertz radios. You wanna,
I think it's the same thing we did with Munster, isn't it? For the police department.
I believe it is.
I move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve item number 9. Second is Commissioner Sicking. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? And there are none. That motion passes 4-0. Item number 10, deliberate and consider possible action regarding approval of interlocal agreement between Cooke County and the city of Oak Ridge for 700 megahertz radios.
Make a motion.
Motion Commissioner Sicking,
Second.
second Commissioner
Thanks.
that's right.
I seconded
Do what?
it. I seconded it.
Okay, Commissioner Snuggs, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. That motion passes 4-0. Item number 11, deliberate and consider possible action regarding hiring a temporary subdivision coordinator with a budget amendment for the same.
Do we have a budget amendment in there?
No, it's not, but we just gotta, I think we ought to go to an executive session on this.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
All
I
right,
talked to Shelley about the budgeting
Talk
and
to
everything
Shelley.
for that.
all right.
See what we can do.
Then let's move this to executive session, which will be going later. That's item number 11. Okay, item number 12, and no action at this time on item number 11. Item number 12 is deliberate and consider possible action regarding Cooke County EMS and fire pager system.
The reason why I put this on, and Ray can talk here in a second, we're having some issues and not getting tones at different stations in the precinct, or in the county. One being station 1 and 3. So when we did the 7-800 system, not to that avail, but the tower that the paging system was on by the state school got decommissioned, so we had to pull it down. We moved it to Rice Avenue, but it was lower, so it really didn't pick up like it did before. So then we found another spot out by Oak Ridge on a water tower. We're still having problems, so that's why I put it on here, so we can start the discussion and see what we can do. There's kind of an immediate deal right now. I know Wes is working on something, and Ray to maybe get the Station 1 Rescue 5 a page to where they can hear it. It's not hitting all the time. I know that Indian Creek and North Shore are having some issues also, and we've got some stuff in place, and some of the departments have done on their own with the active 911 or the I am responding. It helps, but sometimes that's delayed several minutes. Sometimes these minutes hurt us, and it's life and death sometimes. I mean, it happens. So one instance was with Rescue 5 not getting a tone. There was a car accident, and he didn't get the page to get the tools there, so they had to retone and finally got it going. So I just don't want this to be a situation that we get into, that we don't take care of our citizens, and I'll turn it over to Ray.
Before you do, we talked about this last week. You and I did. Did you come up with a solution or answer after our discussion?
I have a recommendation
Okay.
and a lot of information. I think if we could talk about that, that would help maybe move us along.
Okay.
So paging in Cooke County for our fire departments and EMS up until 2012, was all done off of the Co-op Tower, the Pentex Tower in Munster, if I'm not mistaken. And it worked relatively well. Everybody got their tones. In 2012, the FCC went to what was called narrow banding. And so they narrow banded all of the frequencies, splitting them instead of by quarters, by eighths, but that also greatly reduced the power output of all those frequencies. So when that happened, we started having a problem paging on the east side of the county in particular, because we're all toning from the tower in Munster on the west side, and there's a, you don't really notice if you're not paying attention, but there's a very noticeable ridge that runs north-south from Oak Ridge, Callisburg, and on down to west of Lake Kiowa, and the east in there, but anyway. And then just actual physical distance from Munster to the east side of the county. So at that point, we were able to get an antenna at the top of the tower south of the boys' prison, east of Gainesville, at 400 feet plus whatever ground altitude that is, which worked relatively well for the east side, and it broadcast into Gainesville to cover. What happens is that the EMS Rescue 5 stays at Station 1, so if Station 3 is toned, he monitors his pager. He doesn't get a specific page just for him, but he monitors them and then decides what to go to and when. But that was okay. We had an antenna on the Rice Avenue, on the top of the Rice Avenue tower, as a contingency whenever we built that tower, that we would be able to use if we needed it, or possibly to get off of the Boys Prison Tower, which was a commercial tower leased. During the radio upgrade project, that antenna had to be removed from the top of the tower and put down lower on the tower. We didn't know until the very near the end that the tower south of the boys' prison was being decommissioned, and we had to find a new home. So temporarily it was placed on the Rice Avenue tower, which still gave really good coverage into Gainesville, but didn't give good coverage at all to the east side. Commercial tower options are very limited. We found one that may work, and I'm seeking a cost on that now. But in the meantime, we were able to go out on a Woodbine water supply tower just northeast of Oak Ridge, which is a very high elevation and gets a good page into Callisburg and does okay into Indian Creek, Lake Kiowa, in Station 3, but not as good to North Shore, which is at the far southeast of the county. So that is kind of where we were and how we ended up where we are today. Now, the solutions that are there are a few, and one could be, and if we get a reply back that there's even space on the tower that we're looking at just north of the boys' prison, east of town. It's only a 300-foot tower, not a 400, which if you're trying to compare those two, they're relatively close, but one's going to be 100 foot lower than it was previously. That may be a good compromise. I would expect it to do well in Gainesville. Will it still do as well to North Shore? I don't know at this point and can't say that, but again, as an option, we're trying to get that cost to figure out what it might be. Again, if we stayed UHF, which is an independent from our VHF that we use for all of our voice communications, a solution, again, maybe not the best one or the cheapest one, would be to build our own tower at EMS Station 3. That's where we have property. That's not a good, Highway 82 is kind of our midpoint going through the county, and putting it all the way down in Woodbine, again, now we're not going to cover as well to the north, but that may be a good midpoint. It could be a solution. We can feasibly move all of the paging to our VHF simulcast system. And that would broadcast it off of all four of our towers that are in our new radio system at the same time. That would, of course, require all new pagers. So again, another challenge that has a price tag attached to it. And then the cell-based options, of course, are there, and they're getting better, but they're certainly not perfect. And again, I would suggest that we always have to have a backup option, even if we thought we could use the cell-based option primarily, because it is cell-based, and it's based on a network that's all computerized and can fail. So my recommendation at this point is to hire Trop Communications, a communications company out of Denton. They're independent, very reputable, and have them assess our current system and then provide us options to meet what we want to do, which is tone everybody all the way around the county inside a building, which is a very difficult thing to do with a radio. But I think they could provide us a much more objective look. They have the technology, the engineers that could tell us, hopefully, recommend what some solutions are with a price tag. And I think that would give us a much better path forward. Staying UHF is, we're also checking to see if we can wideband the UHF frequency on that particular, in that particular frequency, and go back to that. There is a stipulation in the FCC and the law that for paging you can, but if it's, is it a data or does it include voice or not, we're still trying to find out that also. That may help, again, short term, but you know, is staying UHF even a good viable long-term plan? So with all the technology that's out there, with the improvements that have been made over, you know, the 30 plus years that we've been using it, you know, is there something else that we could be doing? So that's what I would recommend at this point is we will continue researching and trying to find out if we can wideband the repeater, which that's an immediate fix if we can do that. And there's no cost, that's just do it. The next option for a more timely fix would probably be leasing space on a tower. But again, I don't think they would tell us what we would expect as coverage. They'll just say that, you know, it's compatible with their tower and it can be up there. So we would still want to know, is that even, is it as viable and good as we think it might be? Even a coverage study would help with that, so.
How many pagers do we have in the county? Fire and EMS?
You know, off the top, a rough guess, I would suggest somewhere close to 200 for firefighters, and I think EMS is about 40. High 30s, about 40. The new pager, I did give you a handout on that. It's a unication, and in this case, I would propose that we did that. Go with the simulcast and the new pagers. It would be a VHF pager, digital. It has all the capability in it. It has an external antenna as opposed to an internally printed antenna on a board. The experiences out there that I've heard of are very good with it. It gets much better coverage, so.
Is it a whole separate frequency than a radio?
No, it would be the same. So if we did that, we would decide whether we use either the emergency management frequency or the fire frequency to transmit those on.
I could see a problem if it was on fire.
Could be, yep. So if we did it on the emergency management though, and anybody was scanning their radio, they would hear the tone on their on their radio as well as on a pager they have to have. And that was just a commercially listed one there that I gave you as an example. I would expect somewhere in the $650 to $700 range with programming and delivery and everything.
How much do you think this, if we got the group to come up out of Denton, what do you think that cost would be?
I'd hope to have a soft proposal this morning. I talked to him last week, and I don't know. Just assessing the frequency and coverage options and a couple of coverage maps. I would assume a low, I don't know, a couple thousand, 2,500 maybe. I don't think it would be terribly expensive. But
Do you know what the repeater or whatever that was stuck on the Woodbine Water Tower, what does one of those cost?
the repeater itself, they're about 10,000-ish, depending on where you put it and who puts it at what top of what tower.
Everything we do is 10,000.
You know, Probably off the shelf, I can't remember, we bought some before and they were about 8. Of course, that's been 5 or 6, 7 years ago.
Then, with me thinking about it over the weekend, it seems like we could add another repeater and leave that one for the north and then do the south. There's several towers. There's even towers still in that same area where the decommissioned tower is, that maybe we could reach out to. I don't know. It's,
That, the one just north of there is the one I'm getting up and then a price on now. But if you look out there, there's not a lot of, I mean, there's one at Kiowa that we could get on, but if you're Kiowa now, you're 100 foot lower already than anywhere up here. So, and it's
I feel
10
like the one
miles.
at Randy Travis's house would be the best, and I feel like they would let us on.
If we-
It's on top of that hill, it's one of the tallest hills down there.
I mean, it would
at least
cover
It would hit Indian Creek and North Shore.
as a third.
Yeah, as a third, yeah, not in
Right.
an additional repeater.
Right.
See, that's not simulcast, that's, they'd have to hit that,
Do they have to tone off of that?
they have to
tower?
tone off of that tower.
They, I would assume they would do much like they do now. We don't typically, we can't tone off both towers at the same time.
Okay.
So it would have to
That's-
be
that's the part
the
I-
same frequency, but then with a different access code from dispatch that they would have to hit, and that would be another challenge, because the antenna on the sheriff's office is not a high antenna, so it's almost like going car to car.
It's gotta reach it too.
It would have to
from
reach
them.
from dispatch down there over the air, and then it would be repeated out, which repeated out would be okay. So they would just have a third tower they could tone off of if they needed.
I'd like to see us get the company up here and design it for us so we know what we're doing.
Yeah,
We
I
keep
agree.
messing around with it, we're not getting anywhere.
Well,
Get somebody to look at it.
let me ask you about that again, though. And the cost to me would be important, because basically all that would be spending money to find out how much money we have to spend, basically, right?
At least we know what we're spending it on
But it-
instead
Well,
of
that-
throwing
well
darts.
that's right.
spent.
Now, I didn't say it was necessarily a bad thing, but I just wanted to.
I mean, again, there's one really, it should be a reasonably good option and quick if it's feasible, and that's, we're talking now to the FCC reps about being able to wideband in that, just in that capacity of voice paging, but again, it's been allowed for paging, but it may only be in the digital mode or a data mode, not in a voice mode, so we're trying to find that out. That would be a pretty good improvement. I think we would see a noticeable change if we could do that.
Most of the time, them are just short bursts, it ain't like they're on it.
Yeah,
Like-
and that's why they may allow that. And then again, also something we can check on is that another tower out here by the boys' prison. But again, I'm not sure I wouldn't recommend jumping on that just because it's there and it was close to where the other one was. I would want something to show me and tell me that it's gonna cover what we want it to cover.
I think, I'm like Matt, and Jason, and I think we need to have kind of know where the right spot to put them to begin with.
I like the idea too. I was thinking I didn't know you couldn't just add a tower and wing it like that, so, yeah, we definitely need to get them involved.
I think they have, I mean, I know a lot, but I don't know near what an engineering firm with
They're gonna save
computers
us
and everything
money
else,
by
they can come in and
doing what they do.
really assess everything and give us some options.
What was the company's name?
Trot Communications out of Denton.
They did the preliminary for our radio system too, the coverage map that we had, and
Yeah,
For the first
so
effort.
they might even already have some data.
Yeah.
Maybe not on the UHF, but,
Right, but on locations.
right, location stuff.
So I will continue to engage them and get a quote from them and then probably, hopefully be able to bring that to next court and get them started right away as soon as possible.
You want to bring this back next court then?
Yes, sir, I think that would be, I think I can have a scope of work project,
Okay.
I think by then, and at least a what's going on with it.
Are you going to continue looking at those other options?
Yes, sir,
between
absolutely.
now and next court?
We're still waiting on a word back from the SCC on the widebanding
Okay.
and still waiting on a quote from the tower company that would be something else to bring back and make part of that package that they'll assess, that at least we'll know if it's a viable option. We'll already have the upfront stuff to be able to do it if that may be one of the choices we will make.
And also, how does this affect the SO, or does it at all?
ESO,
Sheriff's office?
Oh, the SO, not ESO.
No. I'm
They don't
sorry.
page. The only thing it is for them is, you know, which tower they choose to page off of. If we go to the simulcast VHF digital option, it would probably be easier because they wouldn't have to choose east or west. They would simply
Send it out.
send it.
So this would be compatible at any rate with all three emergency services?
Yes, the sheriff's office doesn't page any of their people,
Right.
so they don't use it in that capacity, but from a dispatch perspective, it wouldn't.
But do they listen in, or do they have a need to know what EMS and fire are talking about?
They would be, yeah, because they would be sending the tones and getting the information out, and then they do monitor the other frequencies.
Okay. All right, then we will bring item number 12 back again next court, Melissa.
Do we need to approve him to go, we need to approve him to go to
Go ahead and talk with them.
talk with him, get us a bid
I don't,
or quote?
Quote,
I make the motion that Ray contacts Trotter Communications in Denton, get us a quote on a
assessment of our
Assessment of our-
UHF paging system.
pager system.
I'll second that. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? There are none. Item 12, that portion of it, which is just that we get an assessment, passes 4-0. Item number 12 in entirety will be returned next court then. All right, item 13. We're going to open a public hearing regarding reduction of a speed limit on Hemming Road to 35 miles an hour. And we will open at 10:47.
Anybody sign up to speak? Didn't think so.
Nope. You want to speak to this, or?
I can talk about it in the action item.
Okay. We ready to come back in then? All right. The public hearing is then closed at 10:48. Commissioner Snuggs, you want to speak to item number 13?
Be 15.
I'm sorry, 15.
Just like y'all get a bunch of people want me to lower the speed limit on Hemming Road. It's a 3.5 mile freshly paved road and it's a racetrack. I'll give the troopers the option to write some tickets and need be, so I make a motion we lower the speed limit to 35 miles an hour.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, Commissioner Snuggs, a second. Commissioner Arndt. Any discussion on that? I drive that road once a week at least.
You drive 100?
No, I drove it at 35. 35 is awfully slow.
It is, but you know,
Besides that, I don't think we ought to talk about so we can get more tickets.
well, it's not for tickets, it's just to deter people from driving so fast. Because it is curvy and hilly with blind corners and blind hills.
Well, one consideration, 45 is awfully comfortable too, but
Now,
do we have residents here from,
my thought is, just from the real world, if it's set at 35, people are gonna drive 45, you set it at 45, they're gonna drive 55, so. You know, I set all my roads at 35 if I take the time and the trouble to come to court with it. That's just the way I've done it.
all right. Well, we have a motion and a second to lower the speed limit, or to, yeah, that's right,
Posted.
lower the speed limit.
Yeah, an unposted road is
65 and 60.
65, isn't it, right? if it's not posted?
Used to be 1655.
Yeah. Either 55 or 65 if it's not posted.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? There are none. Item number 15 passes 4-0. Item number 16, open public hearing regarding the replat of 67 Cross Timbers Lane in Precinct 2. And we will open this public hearing at 10:50.
Anybody sign up
Anybody?
to speak?
All right, in that case, we will close the public hearing of the replat of 67 Cross Timbers Lane in Precinct 2 at 10:51 and move on to item number 18, which is to deliberate and consider possible action regarding the replat of 67 Cross Timbers Lane in Precinct 2. Commissioner Snubs.
The investor bought one piece of property that had 2 houses on it already, so he's splitting those into their own individual lots and adding a 3rd lot. He's met all of our subdivision regulations and it's here for final approval. I've got everything I need, so I'm going to make a motion to approve it.
Second.
What does that do to replat the, excuse me, what does that actually do?
Taking one lot and turning it into 3 lots, sell them off. Oop, that's it now.
And by the way, we do have a motion, Commissioner Snubs, and a second, Commissioner Sicking, on item number 18.
It's right here. This was all one piece of property and they're just splitting it into 3. like I said. Mhm. And they've got water wells and all that. They're like an acre and a half a piece or something. They're all large. It's got its own. They've got their own road frontage for each one of them.
But at least an acre and a half.
Yeah, I can't read the exact acreage on this. I've got it in print form, but yeah.
Okay.
They're all over an acre, which is all that's required to be.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second on item number 18. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? There are none. Item number 18 passes 4-0. Item number 19 is going to open a public hearing, final plat of the Oaks at Cheney Bend in Precinct 2. And we'll open this public hearing at 10:53. Any speakers? Nobody signed up? All right, we will close the public hearing. Item number 20 at 10:54. And move on to item number 21, which is to deliberate and consider possible action regarding the final plat of the Oaks at Cheney Bend in Precinct 2. Commissioner Snubs.
This is a 15-acre subdivision. All the lots are over 2 acres. A couple of them are almost 3 acres. Along the cul-de-sac road, that will be concrete. Heavily deed restricted properties. Very quality subdivision. And I've got everything that I need on this one as well.
Those cul-de-sacs, are they 50-foot radius? Is that what they're, I thought it was supposed to be 60. Or has that changed?
Our engineer didn't catch that.
Depends on how long that road, how long is the road?
I didn't know it mattered, 'cause
Yeah, the longer the road, the bigger that's supposed to be.
It's,
I thought it was 60 foot minimum all the way. I don't know, I
I
hadn't.
think that one we did out there, Dove Landing was 100.
the one right next to this, I've got a concrete subdivision right next to it, and it's got a cul-de-sac that's ginormous, overkill. I wonder why our engineer, I've got the letter of approval from our engineer on it. Well, no, that's right, I mean, 50 foot on this side, that's 100 foot across, that's our regulation.
50 foot
Yeah,
radius, that's what I was asking.
100,
50-foot radius?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. yeah.
Thought it used to be 60, but like I said, I'm not up to.
Yeah,
all that.
it's a 100 foot circle
Okay.
across, what's that? The diameter, is the circumference. So, yeah, we're good on that. But this is a good one, it'll be a very, very quality builds back there with what this land will demand per acre.
Is that something you want to check on that, or?
No,
you
we're
feel
good,
comfortable
no, we're
with it?
good on that, it caught me off guard at first. No.
So the radius is 50 feet,
Mhm. Yeah.
the diameter then would be 100.
Well, the other, yeah, well, diameter is round, circumference is across, so it's 100 feet.
No, diameter's across, circumference is
I
around.
need to go back to school.
Yeah, you do.
My math geometry teacher's gonna be mad at me, Mr. Patterson.
That's all right, we don't have time for that right now. All right.
Anyways, it's a good one. They've got everything they need. I've got their final fees right here, so I make the motion that we approve it and let them start pushing dirt.
Okay, item number 19 is motion Commissioner Snuggs. All right, excuse me. Item number 21 is Commissioner Snuggs made the motion to pass. And second was, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Hart. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. Item number 21 passes. Matt, did you vote on that? I didn't.
Yes.
I just didn't hear you, I'm
Yes.
sorry. Okay. Item number 21 passes 4-0. And as a reminder, Commissioner Hollowell is not here, is why these votes are 4-0. Item number 22, deliberate and consider possible action for a letter of support for Mountain Springs Mud. Commissioner Snuggs.
I've got an investment group, we're working on doing a mud. Will this encompass several different properties? You're welcome to come up and talk. Let's just do a brief synopsis if we can. This company owns multiple tracts in my precinct, and they're starting to work on them.
If you would, just identify yourself. Appreciate it.
Judge, I'm Craig Curry, and I'm the one of the owners of this tract and represent all the owners of this tract, and met with you once before, and Commissioner Snuggs a couple of times to talk about this. But yes, to answer your question, it's 3 tracts. They're not all contiguous, but they're all kind of along that extension of Lone Oak, and it comes into, that turns into 372 is through there. And I've got a map if any of y'all want to see it, an exhibit that kind of shows the tracts.
Yeah, we have, yeah. And they're gonna do a mud, and I told them I don't like the muds that only pay for the roads, but this mud will provide water and the roads.
Possibly sewer.
Possibly sewer.
We committed that we would do at least the roads, not only just the roads, but the water infrastructure on all the properties.
And what they need from me is a letter, a formal letter from the court or from my office stating that we allow them to get this mud put on the bill for approval. And I didn't want to do that without bringing it to court. It's not my place to speak for everybody on the court.
Right.
I have a letter ready to go. It just needs your permission, or we could send it as a resolution from the court, however y'all want to proceed.
Just as a question here, and I don't remember this from our meeting, what type of sewage would you provide for, I mean, what type of setup?
Well, if we, Judge, it depends. Two of these tracks actually fall within your lake zoning district.
Okay.
That you have, so right now, the comprehensive plan shows those tracks as minimum of 2.5 acre lots. So if that stays consistent, well, that sewage would just be septic. We
Septic,
provide
okay.
a public water system as well as a road system, but that would be septic. If we elected on the other track, that's a little bit further to the north, that's outside that, if we elected to develop that as a more conventional subdivision, it would either, if it were like 1 acre lots, well, it would probably still be septic, but if we went to something that were smaller lots, that we'd have to bring back before you all for approval, well, then we would probably have to go to TCEQ for a wastewater treatment plant permit. So,
Okay.
won't be the last time you see us, it's just,
Okay.
And working with the developers on the mud is better than them going around us, because it just creates a tense working relationship moving forward. So, you know, they can get their mud without our support. So I just choose to support them so that we have a good working relationship, and then they'll help us with infrastructure improvements leading into their subdivisions, et cetera. So I can make a motion. I'll make a motion. I need a motion to be able to send the letter to them saying that I approve this mud, or I'm in support of it.
You're in support of it, okay.
Sending it to who, Jason?
I sent it to,
Spiller.
does it go to Springer's office, or just goes to you? But
yeah, they could go either way. You could say that, and just had Paul who's with Senator Springer's office here today, so he probably can confirm that you at least acted on it, so.
Well, all right, and that's a good idea, the way you're doing this, appreciate it. Item number 22, we have a motion, Commissioner Snuggs, for approval.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Arndt, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And there are none. Item number 22 passes 4-0.
Thanks, Judge. Thanks, Commissioner.
And thank you for your presentation. Appreciate it. Item number 23, deliberate and consider possible action on a petition for law enforcement on FRF estates.
So what this is, and I'll let Dale, if you want to step up here. We had FRF Estates has a speeding problem out there, major, and I'll let the person remain nameless, but they put up some speed bumps, and which I don't blame them, but some of the neighbors got mad, and we had to say, hey, even though it's a private road, you can't do that. And then that brought up this petition that I guess, what's your last name?
Rudge.
Mr. Rudge and the lawyer did, where if they do a petition with a certain percentage of the residents in the private community and present it to us and we approve it, the sheriff can drive through there, the deputies can drive through there and show some presence that they can't show now. So they brought this petition for us, and they have enough signatures on it. And Mr. Rudge here is the one that did it, and I think it's a good idea. I think it'll help them out there. I've been trying to help this private community along the way. I gave them guidance on how to set up a road fund to help grade their roads, which he does, and you know, it just every little help we can give them. They pay property taxes and road and bridge taxes, but they're, you know, a 450 resident private community.
Yeah.
And the sheriff was willing to let me accept this petition in so that they can patrol it as needed, or when they have time. So, you have anything you want to say, Sheriff?
Well, I would just say that, you know, as far as law enforcement, I mean, we can go in there at any time and be seen, but this was more about enforcing some of the traffic regulations, speeding, equipment and so forth, that this would give us the authority to enforce some of those things. We can go in there, it's just we're limited on what we can enforce.
Which I think it's a good deal, and I make a motion that we accept this petition from the FRF Estates residents.
Okay, so we have a motion from Commissioner Snuggs to accept the petition. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Arndt. And I just might add, as discussion here, just like Hemming Road, where I travel once a week or so, delivering meals on wheels, also have noticed those speed bumps that you were petitioning against here. They're pretty massive. And I agree 100%. So I'm glad we are addressing this problem here. It wasn't me speeding, by the way.
And thank you for your legwork on this. I know your
Absolutely.
neighbors really appreciate it, so. Very
Absolutely.
honorable.
So we have a motion, we have a second. Do I hear any discussion further?
How many people live in there?
I've been there 38 years.
Yeah.
How many residents are in there?
Residents, 190.
Did
Rest
you say
of them
400?
are
I thought it was
renters.
400 or something.
400 or something?
400 total.
Yeah.
Most of them are renters.
Okay.
Yeah. The actual property owners is like 190.
And
Yeah, it's a very, very busy little community.
I was just reading this top deal, it says 25%. We got enough signatures there?
I think we do the lawyer. I think we do.
Okay, you got some more over there, I didn't see those other ones.
Yeah, they're on different pages.
Okay.
Yeah. They were passing it around, passing different sheets around,
Yeah.
which is common. I think they got enough signatures. I've been working on this for several months.
And before you can ask any more questions, you have to tell me what FRF stands for.
I can't remember. Oh, it's on here. Hang on.
I can't, no.
No, I want to hear it. Let's hear it.
It's Fred. It's Frank is the other F.
Frank,
And,
Roy, and Fred.
It's who?
Frank, Roy, and Fred.
It is Roy Bells.
Yep.
There you go. Fred Simmons and Frank Bells. There you
They're
go.
all gone.
They're all gone, that's right. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
We have a motion, and we have a second, to pass item number 23. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? There are none. Motion 23, or item number 23 passes 4-0. All right, 24, deliberate and consider possible appointment for Lake Ray Roberts Planning and Zoning Commission member, and this is the Jason Snuggs Court today,
Precinct 2 court.
Precinct 2 Court.
Had a member of the P&Z board asked to be replaced due to personal reasons, and I did some searching and some asking and took some recommendations, and I'm going to, and I don't know if it's your appointment or my appointment, but the name that I'd like to see us appoint is Bob Kingsbury. He lives in the far southeast.
Who is the one that's being,
Salzman, Rosina Salzman is resigning.
I kind of think that's your,
I think it is.
I think it is.
Yeah, but anyways, Bob lives in the southeast part, which is kind of where she lives, a good reference in case you come there, and they're super active in the community, so in level headed, that's what I need. And I know he'll be there when you people that are gonna show up. I make a motion that we, that I can appoint Bob Kingsbury to the Lake Ray Roberts P&Z.
okay, the motion is to appoint Bob Kingsbury to the Ray Roberts P&Z, made by Commissioner Snuggs. Do I hear a second? I'll second that. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And there are none. Item number 24 passes 4-0. Oh, come on. Item number 25, deliberate and consider possible action regarding broadband services. Commissioner Snuggs.
I'll defer to Shelley on this one. We're missing an agenda item.
What is it?
This. The one in Timber Creek.
Is that not the 22nd?
I guess maybe it is. I had told her that it was this week. It's okay. She thought it was last Monday.
I kind of thought it was 22nd.
I don't know.
Do what?
As long as we get it off the 22nd.
Okay.
Thank y'all. Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you. We got anything on this, Shelley? I know some grants have been opened up and she was doing her thing on it.
I emailed the documents that are provided by the broadband website shows that Cooke County is ineligible to apply for round one.
Wow. I guess because we have decent coverage already.
I don't know.
You say we're ineligible?
Yes.
Do you know if our broadband people know that? I bet they know.
They have a document on their website that shows every single county and census sections, and every census section for Cooke County was ineligible. But this is round one, and I've emailed them to confirm that. So the application was very technical, so I wonder if they didn't open this first round up for companies because they wanted engineering, schematics, and very detailed stuff. And there'll be a round two, I'm sure, because they got like $363 million, and they're only releasing 120 this time. 120 million.
Okay,
But I have emailed to verify and they hadn't answered yet.
all right. Well, thank you.
And when you sort the document, well, to print the document, it's 10,462 pages. That shows every single county, every census, and who's eligible and who's not. You can sort the document by eligible and ineligible. I don't know how many pages each were, but the whole thing's over 10,000 pages.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner, you wanna,
Well, we can just.
no action that one? All right, item number 25 is no action. Item number 26, Commissioner Sicking, deliberate and consider possible landfills in Cooke County.
We're still waiting to hear back from the attorney.
From what?
From the attorney.
Oh, that's right. Item number 26 is no action. Item number 27, deliberate and consider possible action regarding Main Street parking lot. Commissioner Sicking.
They're starting to put up the silt fence today, I believe it is. They're gonna do the lime stabilization later in the week according to how, weather permitting. And hopefully by the end of next week, they'll be putting down some concrete.
They've had a lot of rain to contend with, haven't they, over the life of this so far?
Oh, one other thing, on the ADA ramps, the color, we're gonna go with the reddish brown like we have around the courthouse and the rest of them.
That'd be fine. Make it kind of go together.
Would that be your recommendation?
That's what I would think.
Okay. Well, basically, the only, no action, however, we did decide what the ADA ramps would be, and that would be the
Reddish brown.
reddish brown material, and received an update from Commissioner Sicking on what progress is being made. Any questions about 27? All right. Item number 28, deliberate and consider possible action regarding real property on Highway 82. Commissioner Hollowell's not here. Anybody want to speak for him?
Did we send the information out, Shelley, or are we still?
No, I'm waiting to, get a response on, a contract to go in the bid.
Okay. Item number 28 is no action. Item number 29, deliberate and consider possible approval of repairing the monopole tower lighting issues. That would be deliberate and consider possibly approving a contract with Camp Sweeney for FM radio equipment on the monopole tower. And Ray Fletcher, please.
I've got nothing on the Camp Sweeney, I don't know if anybody else. But the lighting kit has been received, and they came out yesterday, and we spent the day, they were putting the control box on the building and doing all the wiring, and went halfway up the tower and came back down, and said they ain't going up there in this wind. So, we've got the strobe sitting in the hallway ready to go, and as soon as they get a less windy day, they're supposed to be right back to finish that installation and take down the stuff we're not using, the coax especially on the tower, and get it finished up. So there is progress.
All right. What do you know about Sweeney? I had heard some things about the Camp Sweeney Tower, but I'm trying to think what it was I heard.
Well, we gave them permission to pursue it. I guess their
County attorney called me and just got a few suggestions, and he's working on an agreement with them at this time.
what I understood, it'd be a couple months where they would get their approval from the.
Right, I think Chad Henderson said he still had to get FCC approval when you have a location determined, then you have to go for your licensing.
Right.
Okay, so item number 29 is basically repair is progressing on the monopole tower lighting issue, and no action on the contract with Camp Sweeney, just awaiting approval by SEC. Is that correct?
But I think y'all need to take a vote on the ADA reps.
ADA, okay. Let's go back then to item number 27. Item number 27, just to clean that up, let's go ahead and take a vote on the ADA ramps on the parking lot. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to go with the reddish brown color.
Commissioner Sicking makes the motion. Commissioner Snuggs seconds the motion. All in favor? Aye. That portion of item 27 passes 4-0. Item number 29 is, as I mentioned, we're awaiting SEC approval on the Camp Sweeney, and work is progressing on the monopole tower issues. Item number 30, deliberate and consider possible action regarding the Crest Building. Does anybody want to talk about the Crest Building?
We've got an offer on it, we'll need to discuss that in executive session.
Okay. So at this time, no action on item number 30. Item number 31, deliberate and consider possible action on the library facilities project. Who wants to speak to that?
Good morning, you guys. The painter has been there since about 8:30 this morning. He has completed the meeting room, as you guys saw when I sent you that picture. He is now starting the outside, the southern east corner of the walls, and he will paint this week. He should get the east wall and the southeast. We've moved stuff, so it's very convenient for him to just be able to go ahead and get the paint put on there, and then the shelving goes back on. But everything's been moved off that wall, so he has access to not Carpet, we're waiting. There was a guy that came Friday to measure for the counters and stuff in the staff workroom. And the carpet's ready, Ricky said, they're just waiting on the painting to be done. And Justin's still waiting on the counter and the sink for the meeting room. Once that comes in, which he thought was this week, the last I heard, so once it comes in, then he wants to come in and do everything for that meeting room, so it's completed. They can then get in there, get the carpet. So I think we're hoping by the end of the month, at least that room's completed and a bunch. We will probably be back next court to ask to close if we have to. My goal is not to close the library as much as possible when the painting and the carpet is being done. I think we can close sections of it off, but obviously when they do the back area where the staff works, we're gonna have to probably be closed that day, still be there, but not be able to have people in and out, because we won't be able to check people in and out. We can do it maybe remotely like we did during COVID with curbside, but having people in and out will not work to the public. So I'm trying to avoid as much of a closure that we have to, so people can reserve items.
Get my brain wrapped around a little bit.
I got your brain wrapped
I
around.
said I would need to come over there and wrap my brain around it. It seemed like there'd be a way to set something else up so we don't have to close it.
Well, the thing is they can reserve stuff and then come and let us know, and we can still take them out to it, like we did in COVID. That's why I said we can still work that. The thing is that we'll have to use the computers that are available. They won't be able to be open to the public. Just like when he goes to paint the children's section, we're gonna have to close that section off because we're gonna have to take, so as much as we possibly can, we're still gonna be there. It's just a matter of whether the public can come in, because they're gonna need to get into the bathrooms too, which is right where that main foyer is. Well, then we can open the other door and have that, that kind of a thing. So I'm trying to make it where we don't close all the computers at the same time, so we can at least have 2 computers, though they're children's ones now, but adults could use those if people need it while they're doing the area where the main 5 computers are and the other stuff. So there's plans and steps. It just depends what all. Like Ricky asked me, do you need to be closed? I said, I'm hoping we don't. I hope we can do it in sections, and if we have to, that we can still offer stuff to people if we're still in the building, which we do for some people now already. There's elderly people who just can't get out of the car and take the stuff to the car for them, so, but we're moving forward. I'm sorry, what did you say?
I would think we can get it all figured out.
Absolutely. So, anyhow, and if there is something that we need for, I can't see it being more than a day, or half a day even, so if we need to close, so.
Did we
Okay.
ever get Gainesville Glass to come over and look at the big windows where the
caulking on the south side and
Right.
stuff, they came and fixed that one, but the others are still loose. I did not have them come back. I mean, they knew the problem when they were there, but they were only there to repair the one. But we need to probably look at that
Probably
too.
something needs to be,
So they don't.
all of them
fall.
replaced, because it looks like it's falling out, and
Okay,
that's pretty big chunks of glass to be wobbling around.
okay. All right. Anything else? All right,
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson Spence. Did you have anything, Mr. Kerr? Nothing? Okay. Okay, item number 31, received an update, but no action at this time. Item number 32, deliberate and consider possible action regarding proposed weigh station. And item 32 is no action. Item number 33 is deliberate and consider possible action regarding various grant funds.
Precinct 3 received the $48,366.42 on May 3rd. I have to go back to last year because it's based on when the time was worked. So it'll be in your fund balance to budget for next year. And I'm going to start working on the CTIF. I'm going to have one of my staff start working on the C-TIF grants today to help me out.
Okay. So would you call that no action at this
Yes.
time then? Item number 33 is no action. Item number 34, we are going to go into executive session at this time at 11:25. And let me see, is,
I'll call.
would you give him a call? Yeah. And also,
5 minutes.
we can have a 5-minute recess if you'd like to do that. Let's reconvene at 11:30 on the dot then. reconvene back in regular session at 12:08. And we have a couple of motions that we need to discuss, need to vote on out of executive session. Who had the first one? Adam, you want to?
Yeah, I make the motion that we hire
We
a
need to do
temporary.
number H
Yeah,
first.
which one?
Oh,
Who are we
We need to
doing?
do H first, the cloud for the sheriff's.
Well, I was going to do that after. Does it make any difference what? No, it doesn't. Let's go ahead and do these.
Do you mind?
Go ahead, yeah.
I make the recommendation we hire a temporary clerk for the subdivision and septic person at a salary or a hourly rate of $17.18 plus benefits.
Okay, we have a motion from,
Did you say temporary?
he
Temporary,
did, yeah. he did
temporary
say-
full-time.
We have a motion from Commissioner Art that we hire this person.
Second.
Do you need any of the details, Pam, repeated or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
We have a second from Commissioner Snuggs. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. Motion passes 4-0, and then we had one other, I think we only have one other. Whose was that?
Consent H.
Didn't we have one other those ones? Okay. Then what we need to do at this time is we need to go back to item H, which was
Is it the watchdog deal?
it's the sheriff's thing. Item H was originally on the consent agenda, which was moved to the regular agenda, which we will now consider. Item H, deliberate and consider possible approval of funds to pay for the WatchGuard cloud storage and hosting for a period of May 2023 to May 2024, and budget amendment for the same.
Out of
The inmate housing.
inmate housing fund,
Revenue.
revenue fund.
So are we amend, because we already made a motion on H, are we amending that motion? Are we
Yeah,
making
they're
a
adding the
second
budget
motion?
amendment.
Yeah.
They're adding the budget amendment.
Right, but I'm just saying it's another motion underneath that other
It's
motion.
it's
Okay,
another
perfect.
motion under
Okay,
that.
just making sure.
And you want to repeat that
They're gonna be
motion,
numbered
please?
weird, y'all, just knowing it's really numbered crazy, because I number them as
Yeah.
y'all doing them. So you might see 5 up here and 8 in front of that.
Do I need to just pull my motion?
No, it's
Okay.
good. I'm just saying, when y'all see the minutes and
Okay.
the motion numbers are all, order numbers are all out of sequence, I'm doing it how y'all voted on them.
Okay.
Just saying.
So
Okay.
you want to repeat the amendment motion on H? Who made that?
What are you saying?
Want to repeat that motion?
Adam made it.
Oh, I just added the deal about the inmate fund to pay for it,
Okay.
Line item.
line item.
The motion is to do a budget amendment
Yeah, do it.
and take the money from the prisoner boarding revenue line item.
I'll second that.
All right, got it.
The motion was made by Commissioner Arndt, second by Commissioner Sicking, on item H, and that was just the amendment, the budget amendment. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? There are none. That sub-motion, or that sub-amendment passes 4-0. All right. There was one other one. Which one was it that we needed to go back? Do you remember, Shelley?
I think that was it. There was
You
no
already
action on
did
the
the
press.
parking lot, so I think that was it.
Oh,
Was
when you
there,
get to the PD deal down at the very end. That's-
we have a,
Oh, did you do the,
we haven't done the supplement
I
yet,
was just saying, have you done?
Or 35.
or 35. All right, item number 35 is deliberate and consider possible action regarding consultation with attorney real property.
We went to executive session.
That's no action.
No,
And that is no action. At this time, we do have a supplemental item.
I get you?
I was at the Allen yesterday, or, yeah, Saturday.
You what?
I was at the Allen Mall Saturday,
Oh, shit.
so that scared me.
Can I say that on video?
No, you're not supposed to say that, but
I warranted it. She was at that
Yeah.
shooting Saturday.
okay. Where is my supplement?
I got it right here.
Okay, must got passed down to you.
No, I just made my own copy.
Did you? Yeah, pretty smart guy. All right, supplemental notice of meeting, Commissioners Court, Cooke County, Texas. This is a supplemental item to go into our regular Commissioners Court. I will read the supplemental agenda item, which will be actually 36. Deliberate and consider possible action to use forfeiture funds to purchase a gift certificate for Gainesville Police Officer of the Year. Do I hear a motion? I'll make the motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Snuds. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And there are none. The supplemental item number 36 passes 4-0.
If they're gonna make a donation out of their forfeiture fund, statute says they have to ask Commissioners Court.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, that brings us to the new item, or the original item 36, which we'll call 37 now, which is adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Second? That's wrong.
You can't change it to 37.
Well, I don't know how else to do it.
Yeah,
All right, we'll just say the original item 36 on the original
Should I have
Commissioners
36A
Court.
or B or something like that when I do the minutes? I know they
And,
should
and
be different.
considering its adjournment, I really don't think it's gonna make.
no argument there.
Yeah.
Okay, and did we have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Yeah, we got a motion and a second.
How about a second?
Yes, we got a second.
You got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right.